You've probably heard this a million times. Cardio doesn't kill your gains as long as you don't do too much of it. You should do it for health and whatever, stick to low intensity, blah 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 blah. But why stop there? What if I told you cardio not only doesn't kill gains, but can boost gains? Imagine requiring less rest between sets. Imagine being able to go to failure easier. Imagine being able to focus your technique better at higher intensities. And imagine being able to recover faster during and between workouts. This was my experience from taking my cardio seriously, taking up boxing and experimenting with my own cardio routines. Most people don't, and you end up getting the jacked people who get winded walking upstairs, or the people who can't handle anything above 8 reps. It is painful getting your cardio up, I'll tell you that, but it will be so worth it, and you can open your eyes to an untapped area of fitness. Fitness success isn't just max muscle growth. In this video, I'll show you the steps, how to implement cardio in various ways, and how to balance cardio with lifting. So let's get into it. If you learn one thing about endurance, it's that the more you put in, the more you get out. Well, until you start taking from your gains, but I'm not going to make any recommendations that would fuck up your lifting. So cardio is known as your aerobic endurance, the ability to use oxygen and circulate it throughout your body to maintain your intensity for extended periods of time. Intensity is just any work you're doing and how hard you are doing it. If you've ever taken a jog and gotten out of breath, that's you taxing your aerobic capacity. So how do we boost this attribute? The easiest way I recommend starting is just to increase step count. You can easily track this on your phone through many different apps. If you currently walk 3K steps a day, try getting it up to 5K. Just keeping up this baseline activity can help promote a baseline amount of cardio. This will help you manage more workload, and it's for barely any effort. If you find yourself sitting, using your phone to take a break, try walking around something like a table while doing it. With walking, try to get into the habit as often as you can. There's no strict amount of walking sessions per week, but you can do that if you want, like 1 hour walks several times per week. If you plan on doing this, you can also add in weights like a weighted backpack to make it more effective. Around 15 to 20% of your body weight is a good start. Burns a lot of calories too, so make sure you adjust for that. How do I track cardio improvements? The primary way is your heart rate, measured in beats per minute. Your max heart rate is generally around 220 minus your age. So if I was 23, my maximum heart rate would be 197 beats per minute. Your goal with cardio sessions is not just to do them and get them over with, but to hit a target heart rate and see improvements in heart rate. If you can do the same work, the same distance, but your heart rate is steadily slightly lower, that is progressive overload. You want to get more work done in less time with less heart rate required. Those are your training variables. If you want to track heart rate, I recommend getting a watch or some device. That takes us to the next progression, which is actual cardio sessions per week. Start with low intensity sessions around 10 to 20 minutes after all of your workouts. The machine or method of cardio doesn't matter, but if you like being told what to do, I recommend cycling. You want to be around 60% of your max heart rate, so for the 23-year-old, that would be 118 beats per minute. Start at 10 minutes, get consistent at that, then focus on progressive overload. I'd say you're in a great spot once you're at around 30 minutes, and doing noticeably more work with a steady 60% heart rate. Doing these, you will definitely notice some improved recovery capability between your workouts, meaning potentially being able to handle more workload. Plus, you will be building a habit. However, this is only the start. If you want the benefits beyond just post-workout recovery, like recovery between exercises and being able to train harder, you gotta step it up. Now on to the complete opposite end of what I just talked about, high intensity endurance training, more specifically high intensity interval training. This is where we forget heart rate limits and just try to get it up as high as possible in a short amount of time, usually around 5 to 15 minutes at the most. Is 5 to 15 minutes enough? Yes, it fucking is. Because you can't sustain actual max effort activity for a full 5 to 15 minutes, it is broken up into intervals, usually 15 to 30 seconds each with 30 seconds to a minute of rest in between. Much easier said than done though. If you're new to this, I would recommend starting with 5 minutes total time, 15-second intervals, and 45-second rest breaks, and work your way up to more and longer intervals. I recommend up to 15, 30-second intervals with 45-second rest as a goal. You have to be careful with your rest breaks, however. For each interval, you need some way to track it to make sure it's consistent. Obviously, you could do more intervals if you put less effort into each one, but that doesn't mean your endurance has improved. You can get certain apps to help you with this. The one I personally use is this Tabata timer to track rest, and I track workload per short interval with calories burnt. It's low-key a lot like lifting. Like, you can't keep doing reps forever. Eventually, your muscles will be too fatigued to continue, so you have to take a rest break and then do it again so you do enough volume. Same shit here, except the duration of the activity is longer, so there's more of an endurance aspect to it. The activity you can do here to max effort can be anything. I highly recommend sprints on cardio machines, except for treadmills. Start with 1 session per week and work your way up to 2 sessions per week. That's usually where the interference from the cardio can start to bleed into your lifting, but it's up to you to see that for yourself. The nice thing about these sessions is that they will be short and concise. Huge bang for your buck. More importantly, they will be mentally tough, but also make you tougher as a result. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it can definitely make lifting feel like a cakewalk in comparison. Doing this, you will 100% notice improved recovery performance during workouts and better tolerance of higher reps. Because of this, you will be able to focus better and hone in on your technique, reducing chances of injury as well. Lastly, onto the happy medium, mid-intensity endurance training. It's decent, but my least recommended form of cardio. It's not hard enough to where you'd keep the sessions and duration lower, but hard enough to start impacting your recovery for lifting because of the duration and number of sessions. It's really up to how you manage it, honestly. I've done mid-intensity cardio sessions for a period of time, but I've had the best experience both progress and recovery-wise sticking to either low or high intensity. It's essentially performed the same as low-intensity cardio, except your heart rate zone should be around 70 to 80%. Same process of progressively overloading as well. Alright, so now that we know what to do and how to get better at it, how about balancing it with lifting? What about the interference effect? It's much less of a concern than you may think. You'd have to do considerably more cardio than I recommend here for this to be a worry. More modern studies have shown even though there's different adaptations, their interference is negligible as long as you take some precaution, which is the point of this section. Do we do cardio before or after lifting? First, you have to define what before and after actually means, because technically a day before lifting is still before lifting. When I say right before or after lifting, I mean around 1 to 2 hours of difference. If I mean a different amount of time, I will specify that too. For low intensity cardio, you can literally do it whenever you want. Any time before lifting, after lifting, doesn't matter. Only exception is if you are doing it for an extended duration, maybe like 30 plus minutes. Then I wouldn't recommend doing it right before lifting. For mid intensity cardio, don't do this right before lifting. You can do it right after lifting, no problem though. Best idea is on rest days, but do be careful with the muscles you decide to hit. For example, if the next day is a leg workout, probably not the best idea to do a mid intensity endurance workout that taxes your legs the day before. However, you can experiment with this and see how it affects you. The same shit also applies to high intensity endurance training. For high intensity cardio, the only best option is on rest days or the same day but many hours before a lifting workout. Right after a workout can also work, but be careful because it's so intense, it can actually interfere a bit with the growth response that you get from your lifting workout. Again, it's up to you to see how much it actually affects you, and right before a workout is a no-go. I do it sometimes though because I'm just like that. All this recovery and interference stuff is not set in stone. You can work up to recovering better as you build up your capacity, so you gotta experiment a bit, man. How about when I'm bulking versus cutting? When you are bulking, you can 100% afford more higher intensity training per week, up to 3 sessions. When you are cutting, I recommend keeping it to a max of 1 to 2 high intensity sessions per week and utilizing more low intensity cardio for burning calories. I've noticed I've started to get more joint aches recently since doing this. This could be caused entirely by something different, but if for example you started running regularly, then all of a sudden your knees started aching more and more, it's probably the running. In this case, you have 2 options. You either dial back the activity and lifting to allow your knees to recover, learn the proper form, and continue slowly working up, or you can switch the activity entirely to something that's less impactful on the joints. For example, there was a point in time when I fractured one of my feet doing hill sprints, which was a terrible time, but I learned a lot from it. One thing being that I could still train my cardio hard without causing more damage via swimming. Aside from the fracture, I also had a decent amount of knee aches, which also got cleared up since taking swimming. Swimming and things like cardio machines where you aren't making hard impacts with hard surfaces are great for keeping low impact on joints and preserving them because lifting is already pretty demanding on your joints. Last thing to note, having great cardio comes with so many more opportunities in your fitness journey. If you've ever wanted to take up new sports or just do general physical labor, having a solid cardio base will help you so much, it's not even quantifiable. You'll be able to actually enjoy what you should be able to enjoy about fitness, which is excellent physical ability, not just being able to horse a bunch of weight around. So to recap, if you want a bit of boost from cardio, just incorporate more walking throughout your day, up to 10 to 20k steps a day. Rucking would enhance it even more. If you want to take cardio seriously, start doing some high intensity interval training sessions. Start at 1 time per week and work up to 2 times per week where you can still recover. Remember to prioritize lifting first though, that's what you came here for. Reserve cardio for rest days or usually post-workout. Hope you found this helpful. If you want direct help where you can literally send me your forum videos and get full reviews with tips and exercises, we can have a chat, man, with the first link in the description. Since you watched this, you're interested in boosting your gains as much as possible. I got you with the next thing you should watch right here.